The George Grabel Show, starring George Grabel, with his guest, Hollywood's lovely Miss Angela Lansbury, pretty Peggy King, John Scott Trotter and his orchestra.
Howard's a cute little fellow with a good head on his shoulders, I'll say that. No neck, just a good solid head. He's a busy little fellow. His mother spends an awful lot of time with him. He keeps her real busy. As a matter of fact, just the other night I came home and wanted to talk to my wife Angela, and, well, she was tied up. Hi, honey. New dress? What's for dinner? Again? Say, honey, let me just get a look at you. Did you get a new hairdo? Honey, you know, you're unusually quiet tonight. Hope there's nothing wrong. There isn't, is there? Honey?
Honestly, George Grabel, I could scream. There ought to be a limit to what's expected of a woman. Wife, mother, cook, scrub woman, downstairs maid, bookkeeper, and who knows what else.
Well, we do have an opening for an assistant plumber.
And on top of everything, I have to play cowboys with an 11-year-old wild Indian, George.
Who's that?
Your son, that's who's that. He's a wild Indian.
Well, don't blame me, Angela. After all, your family is the one with the Apache blood. You mean to tell me that our little Chief Cochise tied you up like this?
No, dear. This is the way I always relax in the afternoon. I suppose you're surprised.
Well, I am, a little. I didn't know he could tie a half hitch. I wonder who could have taught him how to tie a half hitch. Couldn't have been me. I can't even untie a half hitch.
Oh, George, you've got to do something with your son.
My son. My son. When he's bad, he's my son. When he's good, he's your son.
He's never good.
He's my son. Angela, I'll tell you what, maybe we could send him away to school. I heard about a new progressive military academy called the John Dillinger Memorial. They tell me that the headmaster is a former guard on Devil's Island and speaks French.
Honestly, George, can't you be serious for 1 minute? I just can't cope with Howie anymore. He's too much for me, George.
Great big you?
Oh, honey. I just can't stand it any longer. Why weren't you here when this happened? Where have you been today? What have you been doing? Why don't you talk to her now and again? George, aren't you going to answer me?
Well, I hadn't really planned on it, Angela. Oh, mock turtle soup. Mock turtle soup. And you made it with a real live mock, too.
Would you just tell me where you've been?
Where I've been? You know, the way you talk, you think you were the only one that ever did any work around here. You know where I've been? I'll tell you where I have been. I have been out all day long with this. And you know where I have been with this? I have been from producer's office to producer's office to producer's office to producer's... to producer's office. And you know that one of them producers had time to play golf.
Golf? Golf? Honestly, George, that's all you've got in your head. 18 holes. And you call yourself a father. George, my mother was a better father than you are.
Sure she was. She was a gym teacher, yeah.
George, honey, why don't you take an interest in your son? Go on in and talk to him. Have a man-to-man chat with the boy, huh? Go on.
All right, I will, but I don't think this is the proper club, really. I want to cut him, just bruise him a little bit, is all I...
George, you don't need this. He's not that dangerous.
You mean go in there barehanded?
Sure, go on, George.
Of course, Angela, darling, you'll marry again.
Go on, George.
So I'll tell you what I did. I did go in and have a heart-to-heart talk with the little fella, and I want to tell you that that boy is not half bad. It's the other half that you got to look out for. However, he's kind of an interesting person. I thought you might like to meet him, so I brought him down tonight. Howie? Well, he's not here right now. I'll go find him. In the meantime, hear this.
The George...
George, aren't you going to say goodnight? Oh, here, let me help you.
Thank you very tenderly, Angela. And good night.
Good night, George.
Next week, friends, we'll be back, and our guest will be Jack Carson. And until then, this is your old friend, Lonesome George, leaving you with three of the most beautiful words in the English language: don't get married.
This is Hugh Conover saying goodnight for the George Gobel Show, a Gomelco production.